Hey guys, welcome back to the LY show. I'm Leah. Today our guest is a comedian from Shanghai. His name is Simon.
Hey guys. Simon. Hey, thanks for having me on.
I'm like personally, I don't really know you. This is our first
meeting. Yeah. We recorded it for history.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Of course I can, yeah. So I've been living in China for about 7 years, originally from England, and I'm a teacher in my normal life, but then sometimes I do stand-up comedy in my free time, just to try and keep things going, just have a bit of fun. Lived in Shanghai. I lived in Singapore and Bahrain, but I'm originally from England.
Okay.
So I like it.
You like it?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's become my life, so I'm kind of.
It's your new home.
Yeah, it's kind of. I only wanted to be here for 1 year. I'm gonna come move to China for 1 year and then go travel the world. And then 1 year became 2 years, and then 2 years became 4 years, and then 4 years became 7 years, and I haven't really traveled, and I haven't seen as much as I wanted to, but I kind of become quite comfortable here, so It's kind of become my home for the near future, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're thinking of staying?
I can't see the future, but like for the meantime, I'm definitely happy with the lifestyle and the life I have in Shanghai that I wouldn't change up anytime soon. It's surprising. Like I had like very low expectations when I came here, and then I was like pleasantly kind of surprised by the city and by the environment and by the lifestyle and just the way it's so modern, and it surpassed all my expectations. So after staying in Shanghai for a while, you kind of go to other cities and you go, well, these are a bit rubbish, you know what I mean? Like it's yes, and I'm like from like a small village in England and moving to Shanghai, living in like one of the most populated cities in the world, but yeah, because of its infrastructure, it doesn't feel too crowded. Even though there's all these metros and people and stuff, it still doesn't feel like you're treading on everyone's toes, and so I don't feel like I could go back to living in a small town anymore or living in another city. So I think I'm in Shanghai for a while, maybe until it drives me crazy. But right now I'm feeling good about Shanghai.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks.
So how has this past few months been for you?
You mean because of the corona? Yeah. It's been a weird 4 or 5 months because I've gone through like a whole gambit of emotions because I remember when because I went away during Chinese New Year to Vietnam, and I was due to fly back at the end of January, which was when everyone was kind of becoming aware of corona, kind of like globally, and especially within China. And it kind of felt like I was flying back at the worst time because I was kind of flying back when it was really kind of been a big thing in China. And it was a really, really strange feeling because I was very much like, should I come back or should I stay away? But I did come back, and I came back like on the 3rd, like in January, just at the end of January. And I just felt like sat on the plane and thought, oh no, like, cause I'd read all the things on the internet about the virus and how people were dying. And I thought, am I like coming back to die? And so then like, I basically spent all of February in my house, just quarantining, like, which is the sensible thing to do because obviously it stops it spreading. But that first month back in February was horrible because I live on my own. It was like a month of just solitary confinement, and it was very kind of lonely and depressing and a bit strange and like fearful because you just think like, when is this going to end? But then as the months kind of went on, and seeing what's happening to the rest of the world, I've now kind of changed my standpoint, and I'm kind of now what seems like in the best place. And it's really strange to go from that feeling of I'm in the worst place to going into the best place. Because like looking at like England now, I'm kind of like some of my colleagues went back to England, and now they're stuck in England in a pandemic. And so it was a weird feeling to go from terror to kind of like almost relief.
Yeah.
So it was like that first February was pretty horrible.
Right. Yeah. But something nice came out of it. I watched your show.
On my show, thanks. No, during like February, I had so much free time. Like, it was really strange because I was either super productive or just miserable. And so in those productive times, I was like drawing and writing jokes and learning to play the guitar and like reading and doing like really beneficial with my time. And then other times I was doing nothing. But the most fun thing I did was probably like I did a quarantine cuisine, which is where I would like make food, sing a song using a famous song and change the lyrics to quarantine lyrics, and then try and cook something. But like, my cooking is terrible, so I think the humor came about the fact that I couldn't really sing. The food was terrible, and it's all done on a selfie in my kitchen. But it was kind of fun because it was helpful for other people because they could kind of think, right, maybe for food ideas and just to try and think they're not alone in that kind of thing. And it was just trying to cheer people up because it was a really rough time for loads of people. So to cheer people up with just me being silly in a kitchen while trying to cook food and trying not to starve on like horrible food. But some of it was delicious and some of it was burnt, mainly. It was burnt, but it was quite nice.
Do you still eat the burnt stuff?
Yeah, I'm not going to waste the burnt stuff. I don't know, like, if you eat the burnt stuff, then you learn a lesson for the next time. Yeah, so I always eat the burnt stuff.
So when you make those videos, where do you get your recipes?
Oh, okay. The inspiration for the food is basically just come from like food I actually like to eat myself. So I'm a big Mexican fan, so I was trying to do a bit of Mexican food. Growing up, like, my mom would cook for me a lot, so I'd try and replicate some of her recipes. But a lot of it might be basic pasta dishes and stuff. But I think the best inspiration I would give, or best tip I would give for anyone, is put mascarpone in all pasta sauces because it tastes delicious and it gets thick. But the inspiration for the food just basically comes from me watching TV of cooking shows and thinking, I will try that, realizing I only have 3 of the ingredients and just making like a mess of whatever. I was like, I don't have that, but I do have this. And I was like, I've got one vegetable, a potato. Let's see what I can achieve with that. But
that's great.
It's great. No, it's necessity. It was a necessity.
That really encapsulates how I feel when I attempt to cook.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, I don't know about you, but so many times I watch a cooking show and then they make it look so easy, and you're like, oh yeah, I could do that. And then they go, right, go to your kitchen and get basil. You're like, well, I don't have basil. All right, and then go get some cloves and half of a blood orange. And you're like, and this fruit I've never heard of. And you're like, oh, I have a potato and a block of cheese. They're like, no, you need this special egg you need a quail's egg. You're like, who has a quail's egg? I've got a chicken. And so it's not going to be high gourmet food, but it is just my attempts of trying to replicate something that tastes delicious.
Yeah.
That's the best I could say.
Well, I will say one thing about like what I missed from your video is more close-up shots.
Yeah, yeah, that was always the critique, because the food thing actually became second to the song and my kind of rant of the day, or my joke or whatever. So I would always just on purpose, I actually gave the food less and less screen time, if you will. So I'd just be like, I've made this pasta dish. Yummy. And so everyone's like, would start asking me like, what are you actually making? And actually have some sort of like tips or ingredients. So by the end, I actually started to be a bit more, this has got this ingredient in, I fried this, I did this, just to help them try and replicate it themselves. But I have to say, if anyone watches my food vlog and tries to cook it, I would just be like, oh, come on, guys, you aim a bit higher with your food cooking skills. Go watch a Gordon Ramsay or something like that. If you actually want to cook something delicious, that's impressive. But I think most people just tuned in for the way I made the parody song, or the the update, because I think a lot of people found interest, because at the time when I was doing the video, they were watching from the UK or from like Australia or from America. They were super intrigued. They're like, what's happening? Because it was an issue for them at the time. And now it's kind of like, it's completely flipped. And I'm now like watching videos of people in the UK doing quarantine videos and be like, this used to be my thing. I used to do the food quarantine videos, and now I'm out enjoying the sunshine. So I'm happy about that, but still feel a bit like I did it first. Do you know what I mean? When I did a parody song of My Corona, and then someone else 2 months later did a parody version of My Corona, I was like, I did that 2 months ago. Thought it was cool. While I was crying in my kitchen, eating Mars bars.
So now the quarantine is over for you.
Yeah.
Any post-quarantine cuisine shows?
Well, I was actually thinking about like trying to do like a food show, but actually make it just a bit more serious, but still fun, and just put some comedy elements into it, but actually make it slightly, well, not educational, but slightly like informative. Well, you know, I wouldn't say Gordon Ramsay, but like maybe give some meal ideas that people might actually try and enjoy, and then do it myself and just keep going. But at the moment, it's just changed to be comedy videos, which are appearing on the channel at the moment, not food ones. But I think because I spent a month inside eating by myself, after you spend a month inside eating your own food and being able to go out to restaurants and eat takeaway, it's so appealing. You're like, I didn't make this. I want this so much. So
why is there?
getting rained on. This is like legit rain. Aircon water and a bit of metal. Like it sounds like a storm, but it's just a piece of tinfoil.
Yeah, we're not dying.
Yeah, unless a storm happens, then I regret nothing.
Yeah. It's like, great we have it on film.
You have it on film, yeah. If I get electrocuted on film, that will get you so many views. Man, electrocuted on like all this metal. We're surrounded by all this metal. This seems like the most.
The star of quarantine cuisine gets electrocuted.
Yeah. I like Star. I like quarantine cuisine got a bit of like notoriety at one point. Like a newspaper in Shanghai did an article about me, and like a newspaper in Sweden wrote an article about me as well. And it was really strange because my friend was like, I shared your quarantine cuisine with a friend of mine who's Swedish, and then they're like, and they worked for a newspaper, so then they ended up writing a story about it, and it was really surreal because I was like, there's just a picture of me and some screenshots and some links, and then like it's all in Swedish, and I'm like, this is so bizarre. But the tagline was fighting the corona with humor.
Yeah, exactly. I also like your artwork. Show that up. And how long did that take? The drawing.
Yeah. Well, it's I don't really know, but it was during one of the many days I had to kind of really perfect my myself, because during quarantine, like, did you have that time to yourself to really do your skills?
Yeah. I created the artwork for this show.
Yeah. Because I found like I was like, when I first realized I had to quarantine, I was like, I'm going to use this time to really get to know myself and really figure out what I want. And after about 20 minutes, I was like super bored. I was like, I'm not that great company, so I've got to have to like fill my day with more things to do. So the artwork was like, there was so many benefits from being in quarantine for that long, because so many times in life you're always like, I'd love to be better at art, or I'd love to be better at cooking or playing guitar or singing, but you always make excuses that you don't have the time. And it was really weird that I then had all the time in the world to do something I wanted to do. And so I feel like I should have done more with my quarantine time, because instead of feeling sorry for myself, because obviously now there's no problems, we're doing good, I should have gone, right, you should have learnt more songs, you should have drawn more pictures, you should have studied Chinese more. I was like, I'm going to study my Chinese book every day. I think I picked it up one day, and then I went, I'm not touching this, I can't be bothered. So it was weird to become lazy in such a productive time, and productive in such a lazy time.
You managed to.
I managed to do some things, but I feel like definitely could have done more.
But art is definitely a way to cope with difficult times.
Yeah, definitely. Like I found like art a very good escapism because you could potentially draw the places you wanted to go or imagine it. Like, because watching movies was good escapism, but I actually found I didn't watch that many movies because I just got bored of them super quickly in TV shows. So doing art and being productive and creative actually made me a bit happier because I had something to show from my time. It's like if you draw a picture, then you don't feel like you've wasted your time because you're like, look, everyone, check out my picture. I've done it, and it is a good escapism, and it's a good hobby as well. It was just, I think that was some of the things. I got really into painting as well, so I did a lot of painting, and I'm really happy with that because it's amazing how practice makes perfect, and so like I can see a noticeable change in all of these creative endeavors.
Definitely. It's definitely give you enough time to improve. Like 3 months.
3 months.
That's enough.
I'd say like February and March were basically the stay-at-home months for me. It was if I went out, it was just to do a food run and then come home to buy ingredients for Quarantine Cuisine, and that was it.
So, I mean, continuing my previous questions, if there's going to be a new show, it's going to be about food still.
I think the new show, it's either going to be food or it's going to be random dances. Dances. I would always love to do like a dance video where people are just, especially in Shanghai streets, where you see like just the locals walking around and then people doing choreographed dances to like K-pop songs in just random streets. I would think that would be just weird, and I would love to do that. But no, shows would be like either just more stand-up shows, like footage of stand-up comedy, or the food one. But like, if I could just get a random dance off with a stranger, that would just be ideal. Like, urban dance offs or something like that. But I wanted to start the food thing again, and I was going to make a chocolate cake for the first thing, chocolate tiffin cake, because it's super easy. But it's so fatty. But that's nothing that tastes good is good for you.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
I mean, that's pretty true.
No one's like, you meet these people are like, oh, I absolutely love salads. You're like, do you though? Or do you just like the healthy aspect of them? Like, because like you say, hey, would you like this really delicious cake? Or would you? Oh no, I don't like sweet things. You just think, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
So you mentioned that you do stand comedy.
Yes.
How long? How much break did you have before you could get up on stage again?
Me and stand-up comedy is a bit strange because I go through in my life I'm very impulsive, and I go for I get really involved in a certain hobby. Like the certain hobby would be cooking or painting or drawing, and so I put all my energy into one thing at a time. And so stand-up comedy is one of the things that sometimes I would do it loads, and I really enjoy it. I really want to do it, and then all of a sudden just go through an aspect of just like, I'm not funny, my jokes aren't funny, and have this real big self-doubt, and then have to kind of wean myself back onto it, like almost fall in love with it again. So I did a show in January, just before Chinese New Year, and then it was good. 3 months before 4 months before anything resembling like an actual show kind of came about. So it's kind of given me some time to write jokes, but it's also, you come a bit rusty and you have to kind of, I guess, find your stage presence again, and find your jokes again, and also find your audience, because a lot of people, even though in Shanghai things seem to be back to normal, a lot of people are still resisting going out as much as they used to. Lots of restaurants are closing down, bars are closing down, because people are almost reluctant and scared to go out. So comedy, it's one of those things in the next few months, it's going to kind of come back more, and I'm going to get more involved. But it was nice to get back on stage again for the first time, even if it was, I remember the first time we all got back together, it was just a few comics sat around together, and it was just nice to have that kind of atmosphere and that kind of repartee, and like there's the kind of like a group culture of the people, because it's like everyone gets to know each other and becomes a bit of a friendship. And it was nice to meet people who would, like them yourselves, being stuck in quarantine for a while, to kind of have that shared experience you can kind of share with. And I think that's by living by yourself, it's hard. So when I actually got to see people again, it was really refreshing. And the first kind of groups of people I saw were actually the comedians again. So it was kind of like, it was nice that they were around and kind of like pushing us to get together and stuff, because it stopped you from being scared of it when you knew that your friends were all doing it as well. You kind of like, you weren't alone. Because I remember the first time I left the house during Corona time, I was like terrified of people. And it was so strange. You just be like, I don't want to go anywhere near somebody. And you had your mask on and your gloves on, and you go to the supermarket and you just see like an old lady, and you think, oh, I can't talk to the old lady, and you can't. And there'd be like a person walking their dog, and you'd be like, avoid the person. And it seemed so strange to avoid people that you would never have any problem with or be fearful of. And you were so paranoid. And so when you get with your friends, you kind of lose that paranoia. And so to get the comedy going again, it was really, for me, quite helpful, because I'd gone from being trapped, shut in my house for 2 months, to seeing people again. So doing shows it was kind of a bit of a light in my life again.
It's like a support group.
It was, yeah. It was a support group of really broken people. All comedians are quite broken. They're all just like, please like me, please laugh at my jokes. All comedians want to be adored, I guess, or want to be acknowledged. And I guess you get on stage, you want to be recognized, and especially after Corona, you wanted it so much more, because you're like, you've gone from just being that person in the house with your wife or with your girlfriend or with your mum and dad or by yourself. You're like, I really need to be recognized and not hidden away in like a kind of lonely time.
Do you have any jokes about the quarantine?
Yeah. You got that, like, because during quarantine, like, a lot of people would just get on Tinder to talk to people. And one girl on Tinder just asked me if I had any spare masks. And I said no. And then she just deleted me. Wow. And I was just like, oh. And then my friend, she was on Tinder, and this boy said, do you have a Netflix password? And she was like, because he instead of Netflix and chill, it was just Netflix and not chill. And she just was like, people were just like, I need a mask, or I need Corona, like I need Netflix passwords. So all the kind of like Corona jokes were just. But I actually, like, when the Corona first happened, it was still kind of cold, and like I had the mask on and the hoods up and stuff, and I quite liked it because it brought attention to my eyes, because really brought attention to the best feature. Because the rest of it's terrible, but this is like these lovely blue eyes, So, but yeah, Corona was just. Yeah, just I think the personal thing was the girls asking me for masks on Tinder, and then unmatching from me if I didn't have any masks.
That's pretty insane.
But it's one thing to do, I guess. It's one way to do it.
Mm-hmm. So, Simon.
Yes.
What makes a joke funny in your opinion?
It's a really difficult thing to do, like, because a lot of people laugh at different things. It's all subjective. Some people like physical humor, some people like stories. But in my personal thing, most of my jokes are about my life, and I just tell them to people, and I just have quite a
interesting life.
But not interesting. It just things go wrong. And so when I go on stage, I was like, "What do you think of that?" Like, it's just a true story about something that bad happens to me. But I think one key way in comedy is to people have expectations about how a joke's going to go, and if you subvert their expectations and flip it, I think that's where the comedy comes from. It's I know what's going to happen. You kind of expect what's going to happen, and when something different happens, that's what I think people will laugh at. For example, like I've got a joke about how a girl wanted to stay over my house. And so when I tried to kiss her, she stood up and said, "Simon, I don't find you attractive." I just wanted to stay over because your house is closer to my church in the morning, right? Which is a true story.
Really?
Yeah. But it's just people are thinking I'm going to talk about how this, something good happens and how this girl's going to kiss me on my sofa, and nothing. It's just the complete flip of the situation is what's funny about that. Because me just talking about a girl on my sofa is not funny. You think, oh, they're going to kiss or he's going to be rude or something. But then it's not rude at all. The joke's not rude. It's about the fact that something you thought would happen went in a complete different direction. So I think one aspect is that. And also I think you have to be really willing to laugh at yourself in humor. Like, I don't know comedians are, I would say, arrogant or so self-assured or think they're the coolest thing in the room. They're almost like they're putting their weakness out there for you to kind of acknowledge and kind of laugh along with. And also, like, painful stuff. If you laugh at painful stuff, then it's no longer painful. Because it's kind of, again, therapeutic. Because you just think, this horrible thing happened, or this awkward thing happened, or this embarrassing thing happened. But if you say it out loud and someone else laughs at it, then you can kind of go, oh, okay, it's funny. It is funny. If it happened to someone else, I would have laughed. So you just kind of put it out there for the world. So I think it's kind of, I guess, changing people's expectations of a situation, and then also if people can relate to it and kind of see themselves doing it. Oh, I did something similar, or I had a terrible date and this boy did this, or I was with my girlfriend and she did this, or my brother used to do that to me as a kid. So if you can relate to something, it's one way of doing it. Or if you could subvert expectations, that's another way of making people laugh.
That's also how you make your YouTube show.
Yeah, my YouTube show is subverting expectations. You expect this food to be like, you expect this food program to be all about the food, where it's actually about my really bad karaoke and my bad jokes and the fact that I'm wearing weird masks on, like where I'm dressed like Optimus Prime or like a Roman centurion while eating a bowl of cereal on the floor. You expect a cooking show, and you didn't get a cooking show because it was called Quarantine Cuisine, but it was just me singing weird karaoke and stuff. So it's about subverting expectations, because it gets boring if you think you've seen it before. And so when something, it kind of comes across as fresh, even though a lot of humor, it's just new people repackaging the same thing. It's the same situations, drama or comedy. But it's just doing it in a different way, which is refreshing.
Yeah.
So I think that's what makes people laugh. But I don't know, like, sometimes I feel like that's the formula, and then you do it on stage and you do a joke and like, this is brilliant, and then nothing happens. Like, I went into a restaurant and I said, can I get some mayonnaise? And the lady said mayo. And I said, yeah, can I have some mayonnaise? And she's like, mayo. I'm like, yeah, mayonnaise. She said, mayo. And I would just scream there. And so I was like, just dumb jokes. But you can go dumb basic stuff, or you can be really highbrow. So I think as a comedian, it's all about finding your level as well, because I'm not political in any way. So if I got on stage and try and did a political joke, it wouldn't work. And if I got on stage and did a joke about being really like aggressive or manly, or boys at the gym do this, it wouldn't work. So I think in comedy you also have to find your character that works for you, because you could have the best jokes, but if you're not believable as a performer, then it's not going to work. So I think you need to be believable as well.
Yeah, comedians, the best comedians write for themselves.
Yes.
But yeah.
Because I hear jokes my friends say, and I go, that is hilarious. But if I said it, it just wouldn't work.
Right.
And so I've sometimes become super jealous. I was like, that's brilliant. I wish I could do that, but I just can't. Because you got these ones who are aggressive, and you're like, but again, it all falls back to what you think is funny personally, because you could have a room full of people and I could go on stage and everyone laughs at it because I did some living in China jokes, or being a single person joke, or my family jokes. But then some people go, oh, I live in China. I'm single, my family's weird, and I'll laugh at it. And then someone else can get on stage and be hilarious, do a joke all about growing up in England and the political system in England, and everyone's like, oh, be really slapstick, and they go, well, I'm not English, I don't know what you're talking about, and I don't know who he is. And so, about engaging is one of the things. If you can't engage with the audience, it doesn't matter if you're the funniest person in the room. If no one in the room's going to get on board your train of thought, then it's not going to work.
Speaking of, have you done any comedy? Like, do you only do it here, or?
I only started 1 year ago in China, and I was in Shanghai, and I always thought that I would, like, this is going. I don't want to sound arrogant, but my friends always laughed at some of the stuff I would say, and I always had terrible things happen to me, and I'd tell my friends about it, and they'd always laugh at it, and I thought, I'll do that and tell it on stage. So I've only been doing it for a year, but I've done it in like, actually, before I became a comedian in China, I used to live in England, and I used to be in a comedy rap group. And so me and my friend were in this rap group together, and we couldn't rap. And so it was funny because we couldn't rap. The songs were very stupid, and we'd always do gigs with heavy metal bands. So all these heavy metal bands would play, and we used to be in heavy metal bands ourselves. And then they would like have 8 heavy metal bands of kids just going, I hate my parents. Oh, no one loves me. And you listen to that nonsense for like 4 hours. You're like, oh. And so me and my friend thought, we'll just do something completely different. And so we dressed in hot pants and a vest, and then sang like comedy rap songs. And then everyone really enjoyed it because it was just something subverting. It was something different.
Yeah.
And we were friends with all the bands and stuff. So at first it was just when you start any kind of creative thing, whether you're like a musician or a comedian or like an artist, it's your friends who come watch you first, and they support you. And then after a while, it's people who aren't your friends will start getting involved and invested in you. So after doing the comedy in the band, like singing funny songs, I then thought I had the confidence to get on stage and just try it as a comedian, not as a musician. But I've done it comedy in like within China, but haven't tried England because I haven't been able to go back to England. Right. I probably would if I could, but right now I can't. Yeah. But so I think the starting off in the kind of the music element and getting on stage to sing in front of people gave me the confidence to just think, I'll go do it myself without the singing. And one of my friends is a very good comedian here. And so he kind of like, I thought, he's doing it. I watched him and I saw that the scene and people were very welcoming and it was a good show. So I thought I would try, and then I loved it. So I decided to keep going with it.
Awesome. But I would, like, I'm curious whether you think your humor would translate well both in China and
back in England. I was thinking that myself because it's not that I'm not funny. It's just a lot of my jokes have been molded by the fact I've lived in China for 7 years. So a lot of it is based in China, like just the references. And so if I went back to England, I'd have to write a whole new kind of set of jokes. Because if I got on back to England and I told a joke about being on the Shanghai metro, again, the audience might not be able to engage in it because they haven't been in the Shanghai metro. Or I do a joke about using the Chinese tones. Unless you speak Chinese, you're not going to get the joke. So going back to England and doing jokes, I thought through my stuff, and I'd say like 25% of my stuff is I could use within England, but 75% of it is very much related to my life in China and the funny things that have happened in China. So I'd find it a challenge to go back to England and go, right, I need to do a 10-minute show. I need to do like a big show because I just wouldn't have the stuff for it right now. But I think as soon as if I went back to England, I would pick up on something, or I would say, oh, this has happened to me, then I could get back into it. But yeah, it's different. They have different things that make them laugh as well. Chinese audiences and international audiences find different things funny, and it's just natural.
Yeah.
Simon,
Yeah.
Where did you get your sense of humor from?
definitely not my parents. Like,
Close parents.
like, I hope they don't watch it. I hope they do. Hi. I know. Yeah. Growing up, I think it was my two sisters. I got two older sisters, and one's 6 years older than me, and one's 3 years older than me, and they were always like kind of a bit of bullies, really, and pushed me around, and so I had to try and make them laugh. So my two sisters, and then at school, like when I was at school, I was kind of like bullied a little bit when I was in like middle school and high school, and so as a kind of defense reaction, if you like, because lots of my jokes are very self-deprecating, I say nasty things about myself. That if you say nasty things to make other people laugh, then they won't say anything nasty to you. Because if you make fun of yourself first, then when they try and make fun of you, it doesn't work. Because you're like, if someone's like, "Oh, you're really, my body, oh God, I'm so fat, I look like a melted candle," and then like they go, "You're really fat," and you're like, I know, I just said I was fat. You're like, and so so comedy kind of came from my two sisters, like having to kind of look special in front of them too, because I was the young one, and then I guess bullies made me kind of write jokes about myself and be funny, and then just being with my friends. I got 20 friends, and so you kind of just, because I was never the good looking one, all my friends would have all the girlfriends and they'd like be the really handsome boys, and I was always like, oh, I now have to talk to my friend's girlfriend, so I always had to be the funny one. Oh, you're the funny one. You're the nice guy who's funny. So the humor came about from being the not attractive one in the group.
You're beautiful.
Oh, thanks. I feel beautiful now. Because the thing is, I just try and make my sisters laugh, but my parents, like, I just, not, like, they have such a different sense of humor to me. Like, I'll tell them a joke, and my mum will just be like, oh, that's nice. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I've like told this whole joke, and my dad will be like, what? Don't get it. Like, so I guess it was just me, my two sisters, and then my friends at school, and then I guess a defense mechanism. Like, if you say something nasty about yourself first, then someone else, and then after a while, you just make it funny, because if you make it sad, then you're just going to get depressed. So it's just a way to kind of, like a defense, and then after a while, people started to know me as the funny person, and then the bullying stopped, and then that way. And so it was just at first it was a defense thing, just to say funny things, and if someone laughs at you, then they're not going to punch you in the face. So that's life advice for you.
For those who have bullies for sisters?
Yeah, if you've got bullies or big sisters, try and make them laugh, and they won't come at you again.
So I guess my question is, do you have any ambition, like in comedy?
In comedy, I think all my ambitions in life is just to enjoy whatever I'm doing. So if I can enjoy comedy and it became something big, that would be fantastic. If I enjoy comedy and it's just something small and it stays small, that's also okay. I just think people put a lot of pressure on themselves to achieve things, and I just think it's almost not important, like having a really big house or these things to show off, because you can't take it with you. So I think like my going forward is just to enjoy my life the best I can. So my ambitions are just to try and stay happy. So as I said earlier, I stayed in Shanghai because I was happy in Shanghai. So I'm going to continue staying in Shanghai because I'm happy. So I don't know. I've always struggled with having ambition for anything. Like I always kind of, for a lot of my 20s, I kind of just worked because I felt like I had to. I just kind of floated through life. So I think my ambitions would, if I could do comedy more and become more popular, that would be great. If I could get back into music, I'd like that as well. Or I just want to have the time to try and do as much as I can in the short time. But like my actual ambition is I actually want to go back to university because during the summer I work as a volunteer working with like sea turtles in like and because they're going extinct, so I help out in like the different charities and helping with turtle research. So I was hoping to like go back to university and study like marine conservation. So that was a 2021 plan, is to start with the A level and then do that and then go to university hopefully. So I kind of, again, are enjoying myself, and the idea of waking up on a beach and going to swim with turtles is kind of like perfect. So I think in my future, that's the route I want to take. I just want, because I spent my 20s working in a job because I felt that I had to save money to buy a house to then get married and have a big car and a family. And I realized that wasn't what I actually wanted. And because I'd felt miserable doing that stuff, I then flipped my mindset to just enjoy the time you have. So my ambition is just to try and stay happy and do the things that you enjoy for as long as possible, which I guess is not the best forward planning. But I just think if you're moving in a direction that seems positive to you, then you're never going to be unhappy. And so even if you don't achieve what you want, you still will be positive with the direction you go.
That was really beautiful.
Oh, thanks.
Especially the part about sea turtles.
Oh, yeah. See True in Malaysia. If anyone wants to volunteer themselves, yeah. Like you just, you live on a beach for a week. There's no telephones, no Wi-Fi, no electricity, and then you just help turtles give birth to eggs and monitor them, and then they go swim in the ocean, and yeah, because they're going extinct. So like, I don't know, like it makes you. I guess Corona has made you appreciate the world, and it's made you appreciate people. Like, because before I would see things on the news like disasters or famines, and just think, oh, it's somewhere else. It's some other people, and not that you don't care, but you kind of just think it's not affecting me. So, oh, that's sad, but I've got stuff to do. But then I think hopefully when this Corona thing finishes, people are going to be a bit more appreciative of the life they have, of the people around them, of the things they have. So that's my hope, because I hope like just the environment is like benefited for half a year of this, and so if just people can kind of live more within their means and be happier with what they've got, and I really hope people who are staying at home can appreciate their families and things, because like being away from my family for so long, like I've got grandma who's really old, and my mom and my dad and my sisters and all my nieces and nephews. It makes you appreciate them more. And I think I took it for granted. So I think when things go back to normal for everyone around the world, they need to not take everything for granted, because like I luckily don't know anyone who's died of Corona, but many people have. And I think if they could have the time back, I'm sure they would have used it better. So I think if Corona's taught us anything, it's about using your time better than you did before. Like, the things that mattered before don't matter as much anymore. Like, I don't really care about money as much as I did. I don't really want to buy fancy things. I just want to, again, live my life the best I can with the time I have. Because before this Corona came, everyone was kind of riding high, and then it's kind of sadly put some people down a few notches, and so people need to kind of take a step back. And I think that's what I've done during Corona, is take a step back and just think, what do I want? What's important? Where would I like to go? So I think that's where the changes that come about.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, good. Thanks.
Yeah. Good luck with all of that.
Thanks.
All of that.
Thank you.
Hopefully, are you thinking of making a video about your journey with sea turtles?
Sadly, I was going in August to do it, but because of Corona, got pushed back to 2021. So, but I'm going to try and do 2 different projects in 2021. So, yeah, I think I probably could, because it might be interesting for those around there, because just the science of it, and could be educational and just interesting, right. And I guess it's just could be inspiring for people to kind of find out. And then, because for example, today, just luckily, Malaysia stopped the purchase of all sea turtle eggs. It's now become illegal to buy sea turtle eggs, because up until last week you could buy a sea turtle egg and eat it. So just stuff like that has changed recently, so it makes me feel a bit positive for the future. But I think in the next year I'm definitely going to be a bit more, because my channel went a bit quiet over the last month. Like no food things, no stand-up shows, no music videos. So I think I'm going to start putting my energy back into getting the channel up again and doing more vlogs and more vlogs.
Yeah, would love to see more from
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah.
I had a good time.
Thanks for being on the show.
Oh no, it's been my pleasure.
A big show, but
no.
Thanks.
Small things, big things start from small things.
Right.
Oh, it's been fun. Thank you for letting me talk.
I mean, is there anything else you want to add, Lee? No.
Should I plug some? Oh, promote my stuff. Oh yeah.
Well, I'm gonna put some clips. Can I put some clips?
Yeah, you could. Yeah, watch Raptastic, my old band, and my Quarantine Cuisine is on Simon's video Chanel, not channel, because I want to say fancy like it's Chanel, but I just spelled channel wrong. Yeah, if you just put my links on, that'd be fantastic, and people can check out the stand-up and the songs, and I can put Turtle stuff up there as well, actually.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Ooby-doo, I'm stuck in quarantine like you. Shabba-dooba-doo. I can't walk outside, talk outside, it's true. Hi! Welcome to Quarantine Cuisine with me, Simon. Today, I decided to make a very hard dish that took a lot of years of training, but I think you guys can achieve at home because you're all super smart. Today, I'm gonna eat a banana. Preparation, you need to peel the banana and then you can eat the banana. Okay, bye.